Hello, America and the world. Welcome to another episode of Life After Lockup. Life After Lockup. This is a program that is designed to show the public a different side of the criminal justice system. This program targets ex-offenders and those that work in the criminal justice system, just to show you that all of us are not returning to prison. Some of us are getting out and living productive lives. Before I introduce my guest, my first guest for 2013, I want to let you know what Life Community is doing in the community of Paducah, Kentucky. Every first Monday of the month at 5:30 is our ex-offender support group. Now, because we have a different location, it is all of our Life Community programs are being held at the Christ Temple Annex building right at 523 North 12th Street. So every first Monday of the month, ex-offender support group at 5:30, come out and let's support one another. Every second and fourth Monday of the month, we have what we call Teenese. It's a program designed for teenagers ages 13 to 19. We have food, fun, and fellowship, and we have somebody there to speak to them to help navigate them through their teenage years. It's every second and fourth Monday from 5 to 7 o'clock, food, fun, and fellowship. Every Tuesday at 11:30, we have what we call the Life Saver class. This is an 8-week course for anyone with any life-controlling issues, whether it's drugs, alcohol, whether it's unforgiveness, hatred, bitterness, malice, whatever your problem is that's keeping you from moving forward. Lifesaver class is where you need to be every Tuesday at 11:30 to 12:30. And it's an 8-week course. Come out and get some help. We have things for men, we have things for women, we have also things for married couples. If you want more information, you can contact us at 575-3823. That's 270-575-3823, or you can go to lifecommunities@bellsouth.net. Today, our first guest for the beginning of the new year, 2013, we want to welcome Brother Roosevelt Pearson. Hey man, how you doing? I'm trying to get all that out, man, and have time to talk to you. Listen, we've been talking for a while now, and your story is very interesting. And this program basically is designed to help us to get our stories out. Everybody knows my story. You know, I'm an ex-offender. I've been out of prison for 26 years. This coming year will be 26 years for me. Just kind of as much as you want to talk to us about where you started this road of corruption, I might call it. Where is your greatest memory? When is your greatest memory of when you started down the path of destruction?
Well, it was at an early age, sir. You know, my mom was a single parent, and she wasn't able to provide everything that I thought that I should have. Okay. So I started stealing out of the little drugstore, candy and things. And when she wouldn't provide for me, I'd throw a fit in the drugstore, and that was the beginning. And then I got caught stealing when Sears was Robux. Wow. So that's how long. I'm 56 years old. Oh, wow. So I started this criminal behavior at an early age. You know, I wasn't vandalism, you know, just anything to, you know, just to be bad, you know. I had a lot of things going on with me that I didn't understand yet. I was still a child. And but when she back then they paddled you. Yes. And she had to paddle me in front of circuit court judge. He didn't send me to juvenile for stealing the walkie-talkies out of Sears and Roebuck's, but he paddled me because of my bringing up. Because here's a woman that went to work every day, provided for me, and I was out here stealing. And so she paddled me. He paddled in front of the judge.
And the judge paddled you too?
Yeah. And back then it was legal. It was legal. Wasn't no child abuse. Right. And wasn't no call the police and nothing like that. So then when I got home, I got another whipping. Okay. And it didn't stop me from stealing, but it took me a couple of weeks to go back. Yeah. So basically, you know, that started the career. And then, you know, as I grew older, you know, I started stealing clothes because I wanted to look better than, you know, the guys who had fathers that was going to work and they had nice things. So I learned to steal pretty good. And so, and then come the addiction.
Okay.
You know, I started my addiction at the age of 13.
13 years old. What were you addicted to?
I was heroin.
Heroin. Wow.
Yeah, at an early age where most kids were out riding bikes while I was running dollar capsules for the guy up the street.
Wow.
And we all went to school together, and so, you know, they had all the nice stuff in the basement, but I would always sneak upstairs, and they would give me bundles to take to school with me. So back then, you know, at an early age, I still had the criminal thinking.
Yes. And now, where is this?
This is right outside of Detroit in Jackson, Michigan.
Okay.
I was born in Bowling Green, Kentucky. I wasn't a part of segregation. When segregation to me was when they sent me to all-black school.
Oh, okay.
So I lived right across the street from a all-white school, and they accepted me.
Okay.
So when I went to an all-black school and started having to fight for my lunch,
Oh, wow.
that was out of the normal for me.
Right.
So, you know, it started, you know, I started that tough guy,
Right.
you know, and sometimes it was just what it was an act.
Was an act.
And so now she's met a man and we moved to Michigan. I got this southern accent and, you know, people was teasing me. They felt like my stepfather had some hidden issues of his sexuality.
Right.
So I had to hear that in school. And you know, so I was always trying to fit in.
Right.
And then one day, where we lived at, the pool room, the gambling house, the prostitution house, all that was
right there.
So, you know, I would go to ride my bicycle to the pool room and start racking balls for just to earn extra money. And you know, then, you know, I can say this, you are what you're around.
Right.
You know, I didn't want to be at home because, you know, the abuse there at home.
When you say abuse, what do you mean?
Physical abuse.
Physical abuse from your stepdad?
Yes. And, you know, so finally, one day, he fondled me. You know, and how do you tell your mother? And when you tell her that, and my sisters, oh, you just bad, you just want mama to leave them and all that. They couldn't accept that. So, you know, I held that in.
Right.
And already before we moved to Michigan, I had some molestation that nobody wanted to take a look at.
Right.
And so, you know, I'm carrying this. And then when we got to Michigan, the course was a lot faster. Marijuana and pills and all these things were in full effect.
Right.
And I'm living right there. I'm watching the hustlers with, you know, having bankrolls and peeling off their bankroll. Here, youngster, go sweep out the car, sweep out the pool room. So I wanted that.
Right.
You know, and then one day, you know, went to packaging marijuana, and you know, all this thing was glamorized for me.
Right.
It was glamorized because I'm from Bowling Green, Kentucky, and then you come up here and these guys are driving these expensive cars, and you know, women giving them money and all this. So, you know, I got educated in the streets.
Wow.
And so, and the women that taught me was that you didn't love like that. You love by what people done for you.
All right, I see what you're saying.
You know, so, you know, and sex wasn't about was about money.
Right. It wasn't about love.
Yeah,
was
it
about
wasn't
money.
about no interacting and having emotions and all that. You know, we would use women.
Wow.
So, you know, I come up, I already been raised by a woman.
Right.
So I came up with a woman, thinking a woman was supposed to take care of me.
Right.
Because there wasn't a man figure. Fishing and changing the oil and changing tires and all that. I didn't have any of that, a clue to that.
Wow.
And to this day, I still don't know how to change oil. But, you know, I do have enough sense to go get it done.
Go get it done.
And so, this escalated, you know, the beatings, and then at 15, you know, the federal government didn't have any control on the drug of substance of methadone.
Okay.
So at 15, they gave me 120 milligrams of methadone, which is not a legal dose today, 10 milligram Valiums, and the kid, 15.
Wow.
Legal assent to get him off the heroin.
Wow.
And I almost burned my mother's house down.
Wow.
So I had to go to asylum with that. And then this time, this last beating occurred with my stepdad. And, you know, I picked up a chair. Well, not a chair, it was a brass iron table with the glass, and I tried to defend myself. Back then, there wasn't no child abuse, because when they would have seen all the webs on me and the things that was being done, there was definitely child abuse.
Right, right.
So I had to stuff that. Well, they came and they put me in a juvenile home, and they made me a ward of the state of Michigan.
Wow.
So
basically trying to defend yourself from the abuse.
Yes, yes.
And you are the one that becomes
been abused. You know, from the community center in front of my friends, almost a block and a half. This man beat me all the way back to the doorstep. But by my friends laughing and stuff, I didn't have a tear.
Right.
Every time he hit me, it was just hatred,
Right.
hatred, 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 hatred. And so, you know, I carried all these, and drugs was a relief from that.
Yeah. And I was telling people the other day, and I talk to people a lot of times when I'm talking, most of the time drugs and alcohol is a numbing thing, is to try to numb all the stuff that's going on the inside. It's like you said, like a relief. It's a getaway in a sense. So you started doing that as a result of all these, the abuse that you was getting, and you go to juvenile at 15?
Yes, sir.
And how long were you in there?
Stayed there 30 days. They let me come out, made me a ward of the state. I had a caseworker. Now I got a caseworker, so they're pretty much monitoring the situation. And then there was more funding available, so I was able to get an older an adult, and we was able to get an apartment.
Oh, okay.
And so they paid for that and gave me like food allowance and all that. So at 16, I'm on my own.
Oh, wow.
And so, as you know, I'm still got criminal thinking. So Detroit was 70 miles west from where I was at. So I would go down to Detroit and get raw heroin and come back and package it and sell it at school and in my neighborhood. So in the course of that, I wasn't injecting, but I was sniffing.
Okay.
And then, you know, as I excelled in this, police started hanging out in front of my door. I stayed in downtown apartments, which was some luxury apartments at 16, and swimming pool and all this. But I had a lifestyle, man, that, you know, the lifestyle that I was living was just addicting. I'm 16 years old, looking like I'm 20. I'm dressing like I'm 20. The women were prostitutes was giving me money, and you know, it wasn't no love. It was like they was
business.
Yeah, it was all business. And so, you know, had some major plugs that, you know, I utilized. But one thing about it was that I still had an addiction.
Right.
That I could never get enough of something.
Right.
It was always something, because there was still this
desire
stuff that I couldn't just release, because sometimes I'm still a child.
Right.
In a man's body.
Right.
I still got those hidden things down that I hadn't took care of.
Right.
And so at 20 years old, the neighbor that I've come up with, his granny was like my granny, stayed there, ate there and everything, and he brought a guy, and I did some transactions with him, and he was the state police.
Wow.
Now this is the guy that I come up with, and he used me to avoid prosecution from a child support. To child support. Now, not a felony conviction, but
so he set you up.
Set me up for his child support.
Wow.
So I'm living next door to him. His granny and my mother are like church sisters, and coming to the house, and she called me up, cut the grass. But this guy had turned me in, so I didn't know the warrant was active. So I came back. I was coming back and forth from Michigan to Kentucky, because they had good marijuana in Kentucky, and they had good heroin in Michigan. So I'm doing Kentucky Derby. We was just had dropped a girl off at Jam Factory, which was a prostitution hangout. Police see me drop her off. Was in black man in a Phantom Cadillac when they first come out, and they pulled me over. And then I went by. In the streets, we don't use our names.
Right.
So they had the alias, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. But at the time, my gold teeth gave me away. They wanted to see my teeth. And since then, I took some out. But, you know, so that got me convicted. So I was looking at a life sentence for transporting heroin.
Life sentence?
Yes.
Wow.
In the state of Michigan, heroin was not, it wasn't popular as it is now. We're talking about 77, 78. And I hadn't even completed high school. And so that got out of that, and they had a ex-state senator for an attorney, you know, and all I know was that they gave me probation.
Oh, okay.
You know, but he said I got to make a call first. I don't know who he called, but that let me, you know, and still even then, I didn't identify with the coverage that was over me.
Right.
You know, and so I went back to Kentucky, because I had a little setup there where a guy saying I was working for him and everything, and I was still doing what I was doing. So I was coming down Broadway, and my friend had just bought a brand new Eldorado Cadillac Barrettes. And I turned around and look at it, and the lady stopped. The bus stopped, she stopped, and boom, I'm running. I'm telling her, just pull over, because I'm getting ready to pay you. And because the beat cop, Steve Thompson, who know all the hustlers, all he seen was the car, and I had marijuana in the back of my car.
Wow.
So once again, I done violated my parole and probation in Michigan. And in the state of Kentucky, first offense, anything under 8 ounces was a misdemeanor until convicted. So I prolonged it, and finally they gave me conviction, and I had to go turn myself in.
Wow.
So on the way to Michigan, it was about 8 below zero. I got pulled over by state police, but this warrant was still in the computer that I was a fugitive from Michigan.
Wow.
So they took me to jail again.
Oh, man.
So I stayed about a mile from Jackson Southern Prison, one of the biggest wild prisons in the world at the time. So we grew up playing baseball in the prison.
Wow.
We was taking drugs inside the prison at 16, because my peers, some of their brothers was in there, and they was using us as mules to bring drugs, because they don't search 16, 14, 15-year-old kids.
Right.
So we was muling back then.
Now, let me ask you this now, because I'm looking at this frame of mind that you're in, with the addiction, with the still selling drugs and things of that nature. So at 16, when did you actually start your prison, going in and out of prison?
My first prison sentence were in the state of Florida for control instrument, which was a credit card. I didn't use the credit card, but the girls used the credit cards, and they was buying stuff for me, so they had me as accessory.
Oh, okay.
In the state of Florida, all they had to do was just say he did it, but they didn't. So that was my first one. I got out of there, came back up to Michigan, waited for her to get out. Then we went to Las Vegas and did some things there, and went to California. And so from California, I escaped from prison there. So in the course of this, I had several aliases, ended up in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Good God Almighty.
So from Albuquerque, New Mexico, I got heroin charges under the alias of David Thompson. So now I get out, and then I go back on the run again. So I'm already a fugitive. I've had my first daughter now, right? She come into the world, bless her heart, Teresa Rose, addicted to methadone.
Oh, man.
So in the state of New Mexico, they take your child until you get yourself together. So I'm going to methadone program. My girl's still on the street, and one of her clients, who had emotions for her, felt that getting me out of the way would enhance his chances of her becoming a better woman. So when I come out of the drugstore with my daughter, the federal marshals was there for me. Remember, I'm an escapee from California.
Right.
So I get back to California. I get 5 years there. I served 2.5. Get out. Now, in the meantime, I'm fighting in 1381, where I can get these charges run together from the drug charges in Santa Fe, New Mexico, in Albuquerque rather. But they probate that and send me back to California. So I'm doing California time in Albuquerque, New Mexico jail.
Man. Okay, let me ask you this, because we got about like 4 minutes
Okay.
left. Of all the time that you've done with jail and prison, about how much would you say of your life that you spent?
26 years.
About 26 years altogether. From 16 years old.
Yes.
All the way up until about what? Maybe 3 or 4 years ago, or something like that?
It's been almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years.
Yes, sir.
Good God Almighty. Yeah. And now, in the last 3 years, because I think this is important for people to understand. Last 3 years, you've been delivered from heroin.
Yes, sir.
And you are basically now, explain a little bit about what you do now in the last few minutes that we have.
I got to Paducah, Kentucky through a treatment program by CenterPoint Recovery Center for men. I had some people that notified them I was on a mental ward withdrawn from morphine. And they said, well, you got to go. So ended up at CenterPoint Recovery Center over almost 18 months. And I've completed the program there, and they decided to hire me. So I've been working at CenterPoint for almost 1 year now.
Wow.
I just got my contract renewed through CenterPoint Treatment Center for Men. I am now a certified recovery dynamics instructor by the state.
Wow.
So they provided me for take the classes. Not only have I been delivered, I teach what I come out of.
Right.
And that's what keeps me alive today, is by sharing my experiences with others. But one of the things that I had to do was I had to let all that childhood trauma go.
Yes.
CenterPoint Recovery Center, they provided Four Rivers Behavior Center for me. I was able to work out some of the childhood trauma through the therapist that that's affiliated with the treatment center, which is Four Rivers, is a mother company of the treatment center. So they provided all this for me, and I was able to work through all these things. And I'll just say this: God,
that's it.
The CenterPoint Recovery Center and recovery, man.
Right. That's it.
I mean, anything that I put before God, I'm gonna lose my recovery.
That's it, man. And listen, let me tell you this, because we got about 30 seconds left, man. This has been so just so overwhelming with all that you've gone through and where you are now. This is what people need to see, where you are now. And I am so proud of you, man. I'm just so grateful that you came to share your a portion of your story with Life After Lockup. And I want to thank you also for watching Life After Lockup. God bless you, and you have a marvelous day.